All right, finally, we can finally do round two at last because we got our opponent. The Leafs get their opponent, and it's none other than the Florida Panthers, a team that I have a huge hatred with since the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs, since round two. Ever since when the Leafs got booted out by the Panthers in 2023, and the Panthers going on their Stanley Cup Finals run in 2023 and 2024 and winning the Stanley Cup in 2024, that made me very pissed off because that started a whole hatred with this team, with the Florida Panthers, because the Panthers are one of those teams that just keeps skating by like it's nothing. They keep skating by and get no penalties necessary, whereas the other teams they get penalized. And you know what? It feels likely. Sorry, not feels likely. And it feels like that the Panthers are the biggest frauds in the history of sports. They're not just a good team; they're the biggest frauds in sports. Okay, they just get a free pass like it's nothing. They have the reps bailing them out in any possible situation you can imagine. And now you're coming and playing against one of the dirtiest teams and one of the most fraudulent teams in sports, the Florida Panthers. I was expecting Leafs versus Lightning because that's where the blue and white because that's the best battle, the battle of blue and white. Nope. Instead, we get the Florida Panthers. I don't understand why. Because they knocked off the Lightning in 5 games, which was complete and utter bollocks. And damn, that backfired on my playoff bracket. I'm actually right now 4 for 7. I could be 5 for 8 or 4 for 8 if the Winnipeg Jets do end up winning over the St. Louis Blues, or if the Blues just end up heartbreaking the Winnipeg Jets in 7 games. Because that game doesn't start till 7 o'clock, and I will watch that game. I will watch it. But anyways, back to the rant. Back to this preview video, because the Leafs are taking on the Florida Panthers, who just won the Stanley Cup, which was not good considering that the Panthers just won the Stanley Cup. All hands on deck because they cried to the refs every time. They had the refs bailing them out in the possible moments yet, and I'm really pissed about it. You go back to last year. You go back to when I was ranted about the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals, where I said that the Oilers deserve to win the Stanley Cup, and then they end up losing in 7 to the Florida Panthers. I don't understand why the NHL got robbed for greatness just for that. Now you're taking on the Panthers, who have been the worst team of all time. Luckily for Florida, they gotten weaker. They don't have Oliver Ekman-Larsson. They don't have Steven Lorenz. They don't have Stolars because the Leafs took them. We got them in free agency, so take that, Florida. And then, of course, they don't have Vladimir Tarasenko. They don't have Stunland. They don't have Brandon Montour. And they don't even have Nick Cousins. And here's the fun part. They don't have Spencer Knight. And they don't have that goosehead known as Radko Gudas, who yelled at Joseph Woll. Go figure. And now, we playing against the Panthers. It's time to get some revenge on the Florida Panthers. So, I'm going to go through the stats and tell me if I know how it all starts with the regular season. So, I'll start with those previous Leafs in the Panthers playoff those games in the regular season. The first one was back in November, where the Leafs got absolutely ass handled by the Panthers 5-1, and that kind of really pissed me off. Like 5-1, are you kidding me? You let in a shorthanded goal only to let Mitch Marner only to let Mitch Marner say no shutout, and then they end up getting screwed by their own game. March, Leafs lost 3-2 to the Panthers because the Panthers just got more calls. Oliver Ekman-Larsson got called for a rough, which wasn't intended. Too many men on the ice, and to add more insult, David Kemp interference. The third one was a 3-2 win over the Panthers in a must-win game, like a statement game that, hey, we want to be Atlantic Division champions, let us be it. Because the Leafs were meant to be first place in the division, not second or third. And then the last one was a 3-1 loss to the Panthers, where got a little chippy at the end, despite Marner being defensive on all cylinders for the one shot missed on the empty net and let in a second. So therefore the Panthers scored 12 goals over the Leafs. And that's not good. Because even though the Panthers may be good, they still have the biggest, dirtiest things to do. You got bloody hell. You got Matthew Tkachuk, who's the dirtiest player in the league. He might be worse than Brady Tkachuk. I'm not even going to lie. Sergei Bobrovsky, that guy literally says, no way, I'm going to be the best goaltender because I'm King Bob. No, you ain't. Just let us score, goddammit. And then you get Aaron Ekblad. You got former Bruin Brad Marchand. Those guys are really much pain in the butt. I'm not going to lie. The pain in the butt was Brad Marchand coming from Boston. Do not tell me do not tell me that Brad Marchand's my daddy, because he's not my father. God damn it. And that's how it all starts. That's how it all happened. I thought this. So what do they need to do? Well, I got like some stats for the regular season and the regular season's stats for the Leafs and the Panthers for offense and defense. So talking about the goals, the Leafs are tied for 7th in goals at 3.26, while the Panthers are 15th in goals. 15th place in goals. Shots on goal, 19th for the Leafs, 3rd for the Panthers. So the Panthers are good on shots on goal compared to us. The power play, well, it's a 1% difference between the Panthers and the Leafs. The Leafs are 25th percent in power plays, tied for 8th, while the Panthers are tied for 13th in the power play, 24%. Shooting ability, 12% for the Leafs and 10% for the Panthers. Whereas for the face-off, the Leafs are 2nd in face-offs, while the Panthers are 20th in face-offs. Defense. The defense-wise, the Leafs allowed a 2.79. They're tied for 8 in goals allowed, while the Panthers have goals allowed for 7th. Shots on goal allowed, 25th place. And 5th for shots on goal for the Panthers. Penalty kill wise, 17 overall, a 70%, tied for like 17% in the penalty kill, while the Panthers are 10th. So even though they're good in the penalty, if the Panthers are good in the penalty kill, they still keep skating by like it's nothing. Whereas for penalty minutes, the Panthers are 32nd in penalty minutes, while in penalty minutes for the Leafs, 14th. Yeah, just because they take penalties doesn't mean I can still call them frauds, because they are the biggest frauds in the NHL. I'm not going to lie. So now we get to the goalie stats. Anthony Stolarz had a GP of 34 in the regular season, 2.14 GAA, a save percentage of 93%, a GS of 33, and goals allowed for 71. So therefore, Stoley's a better goaltender than Bobrovsky, which, of course, Bobrovsky has a 54 GP, a GAA of 2.44, save percentage of 91%, GS of 54, and a GA of 130 in the regular season. But regular seasons don't mean jack. It's when you get to the playoffs where Stoley had a GP of 6, a GP of 5 for Bobrovsky, 90% for both in save percentage for both Stoley and Bobrovsky, 6 GS for Stoley, 5 GS for Bobrovsky, 14 GA for a GA of 14, and a GA of 11. So technically, Bobrovsky may be a good goaltender, but who's the better goaltender? Exactly, freaking Anthony Stolarz. And I believe Stoley can get the job done. You did it in Ottawa back in, I believe it was Game 6, where he did a phenomenal job in that game. In Game 6. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Yeah, despite letting in some stinkers. Even Game 5, which was complete and utter bollocks. I mean, we got shut up by the Senators. Don't tell me Deserve's got nothing to do with it, because it's got to do with something. I don't care. And tonight, excuse me. I don't know how to put a finger on this, but Stoley's got to do the same thing again. And same with the core four. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, William Nylander. All of them need to show up. Matthews only had 2 goals. Marner, I'm not sure. Tavares, he had more goals. And William Nylander, he even had 2 goals in Game 6 on his birthday. Heck, he even had more goals in the playoffs. I'm not sure. I think John Tavares has more goals, by all means, in the playoffs. By all standards here. And now, my main thing here is what needs to happen. First off, the core 4 needs to show up in round 2 this year. In 2023, when the Leafs were in round 2, they didn't show up until Game 4 and 5, where they end up getting the gentleman sweep by the Panthers, which really pissed me off. You got to score more than just that. Score freaking more. Don't score less than 2. Don't score less than 3. Don't score 2. You're scoring more than that. Don't let in like some bad shit happen. Don't let anything get in your way. Do not give up. Do not give the Panthers any power plays, and do not give the Panthers. Do not let the Panthers get away with things, because that's what concerns me. Is the Panthers. Sure, they may be a good team, but they sure aren't a good team to me. Still the biggest frauds in history, and they will be frauds. From what I'm looking at, they keep getting away with everything. They get more of everything. They get more. They have the power play. Yeah, I know there was the Tampa series. Tampa got more power plays than Florida, but I don't care. Panthers just keep skating by like it's nothing, and it doesn't make any sense. How can you not skate? Damn it. How do you always keep skating by like it's nothing? I'll never know. Cook Bobrovsky. I know he cooked Ilya Samsonov back in May of 2023. He got injured, and he wasn't the same goaltender. He wasn't the same goaltender afterwards. We put in Joseph Woll. He only let in some goals. That's all. So Cook Bobrovsky, give Bobrovsky hell and send him back to. Give him like a one-way ticket back to square one. And defense, show up, man. You gotta have the D showing up every freaking time. They did it in Ottawa, so they gotta do it here in the Florida series. Chris Tanev, show up. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, you're the former Panther, so you're gonna give the Panthers revenge. Jake McCabe, show up too. Do it. Everybody needs to step up, including Brandon Carlo, Morgan Riley. Everybody needs to step up. The D needs to step up. The offense, the forwards, everybody, step up your game. Do not let those Florida frauds cook your butts. And yeah, I said it before. Before I get into the what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go I'm gonna say what happened. When the Leafs lost in 5 to the Panthers, I got so mad that the Panthers made it all the way to the conference finals. They made the Stanley Cup Finals. That really pissed me off. I told them the Leafs won the Stanley Cup Finals, and then I got cooked by Panthers fans. Same thing again. I literally got cooked by Panthers fans, all because the Panthers won the Stanley Cup, but not the Leafs and Oilers, which was complete and utter bull. It was undeserved. I don't care. It was 100% undeserved from the Florida Panthers, and they raised the Stanley Cup banner. I mean, that really set a tone here. And you know why that Keeshan-Panthers rivalry is still going on? Because the Panthers fans hate my guts. And I want that rivalry to end. So the Keeshan-Panthers rivalry will end. That will end if the Leafs beat the Panthers in the playoffs. 6 or 7. If not, it still continues. If it does end, I don't have to deal with this. So thank God. But we'll have to find out. So my prediction for this one, Leafs in 6 over the Florida Frauds. The Leafs are going to kick the defending champs out of here. They did. Time to get revenge after what happened in 2023 when you know what happened. When the refs just bailed the freaking Panthers out every freaking time. I hope to God that if the Leafs win tonight, still round 1 for the Jets. So if they win, they got to win all 4. Remember, got to win all to move to the next round. All right? So Leafs in 6. I said it in the Senator series. I'm going to say it here. Leafs in 6. So, Monday night, 8 p.m., they play against the Florida Panthers. And I don't understand the 8 p.m. timing. Because of the Florida teams. Always special. On medication, for Christ's sake. Why the 8 p.m. start, I'll never know. Alright. I think that's about it. So let's take down those defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Hope to God the Leafs beat those Florida Panthers. And the Panthers will continue to be frauds. And they will go down in the dumps for the Panthers. Let's go, Leafs. Yeah!